Welcome to the DeFi Standard, and this is Mickey B. Fresh. And today, CBDCs on a private XRP ledger. What does it mean for XRP? And how is this going to affect XRP's price? And it will have any negative effects on XRP. So we've heard from Brad Garlinghouse saying that central banks are looking to issue CBDCs on the XRP ledger. Now, to give a little background of what the XRP ledger actually is, there's gateways on the XRP ledger, which are fiat on-ramps and off-ramps to the XRP ledger's decentralized exchange, and that allows the issuing of currencies. So they're talking about an actual private ledger. Does that mean that's going to be a whole nother XRP ledger, or is it going to be just private instances, which means there's going to be private servers? So I think this is where Polysign could possibly come in. And now I'm kind of speculating here a little bit, but Ripple backed off from the whole gateway model after the FinCEN fine and settlement in 2015. So if you're going to issue CBDCs on the XRP ledger, you're going to need gateways. And those gateways would most likely possibly be on a private ledger, which possibly could be where Polysign's private blockchain comes in, because they're going to need to have the ability to control those CBDCs. Now, IOUs, which now they're calling issued currencies, have trust lines with them. So they have their own ability to control that currency. So it could be used only with certain other parties. Now, they're not going to make another XRP ledger with a completely different asset. So we could not have to worry about that. But the aspect of being able to utilize a public blockchain like the XRP ledger in private instances is with a neutral bridge asset. Now, that's the key. How can you get the best of both worlds? Now, with private blockchains like Hyperledger or Quorum or Corda, you don't have that neutral bridge asset and that decentralized exchange built into them. So with these private instances of the XRP ledger, you could accomplish that. And how Polysign was designed in 2017, and it originally was called Interledger FX. Now, RippleNet is basically a private network, payment network that's built above the XRP ledger, but it's still able to utilize ODL and XRP. And now they use the crypto exchanges and they use their custodial wallets to be able to send those ODL payments. So I want to go into a little of how ODL operates here so that we could understand how CBDCs will operate. Now, CBDCs that are going to be issued most likely are not going to be retail CBDCs. They're going to be wholesale, most likely. Now, with Ripple's line of credit, they're allowing these payment providers and other banks to be able to utilize ODL by removing one leg of the ODL transaction, by actually holding XRP that they get as a loan from Ripple. They could instantly shoot out those payments into any corridor. Because one of the issues with ODL was you would still have to use fiat to buy the XRP from the exchange. Now, that doesn't happen instantly unless the exchange, the payment provider, all have the same bank and have accounts at that bank. Then it could happen simultaneously. But if that doesn't occur, and that's not going to happen in every corridor, it's going to be very difficult. So by loaning the XRP, they're able to remove that first mile. Now, CBDCs solve the last mile, especially retail ones. So between different corridors, they'll be able to shoot out these payments, and then the CBDCs will be able to off-ramp those. So it's possible we see retail CBDCs built on completely different ledgers than XRP. But we could see wholesale built on the XRPL and possibly on Polysign's private blockchain. which would kind of be like a network of gateways in that sense. And it would be able to authenticate and have all the identity there and keep the transactions private. But the key here is to utilize XRP. Now, when you're utilizing XRP, you're still utilizing the underlying protocol, which is the XRP Ledger, and the Ripple transaction protocol, which was the original name for the XRP Ledger. Now, with these private XRP Ledger instances, they'll still be able to utilize XRP as a bridge asset, just like if they were actually on the ledger. But central banks are going to want to have control. They're going to want to have full visibility. So the pilots are all taking place right now, and they've been going on for years. And once this SEC settlement ends, and we get the currency designation, or at least the non-security, we will see a massive marketing push from Ripple, from RippleNet, and from all their partners. But that's why we've been held back, is because there's uncertainty. There's no clarity on what XRP is in the US. And the settlement will hopefully end soon. I'm very hopeful that when Gensler gets in there, we're going to see some sort of settlement. I can't see how there's some kind of in-between of how XRP could be a digital security and also be used in transactions. There's really only one or two ways this turns out. We either get a settlement, XRP gets freed up, retail institutions, everyone could use it because it's a decentralized public blockchain, which means that it's for everyone, not just for banks. Or they take this all the way to the end of court and God forbid it ends badly and it's security. That would be a very bad thing. I just can't see how XRP could be ruled some kind of security and then still be used in cross-border FX payments and not be a currency. It is a currency. When it's bridging two currencies, that's a currency. So I think we're going to get there very soon. And once that happens, we should start to see more of a marketing push from the partners. Like your Bank of America should come out. SBI even should start using it more, because with the USD being the reserve currency, that's the biggest corridor. So until there's clarity in the United States, that's what's holding back ODL. That's what's been holding back RippleNet. It's also been holding back other products that they're looking to make. And they've said it even. Eventually, we're going to see the convergence of DeFi and the traditional markets, because that's the foundation of the new financial system. We're able to now trade on these decentralized exchanges with liquidity pools and automated market makers without order books and without bids and asks and the slippage. The concept with what Ripple's doing is they're creating an inner exchange network. So you still have to tie all the exchanges together and the market makers. But with Xpool and the liquidity pools, they're able to create deep liquidity without the need for the speculative trading. And that is a revolutionary thing. And David Schwartz has stated that he sees a future where there would be these global pools of liquidity where people could contribute to and draw off of. That's exactly what a decentralized exchange is. And that's the XRP Ledger. Yes, it has order books. And they could add an automated market maker as a new object, an amendment to the ledger. And I think that's something we're going to see in the future for sure coming up. Now, with RippleX, what's really interesting, I find, with RippleX is that they're a whole development platform for XRP, but they're also building the infrastructure for CBDCs too. So you have this retail side DeFi platform, and then you have them working with central banks to build CBDCs. So I really find that fascinating that they're really focusing on the XRP Ledger, but from two different sides. Now, you also have RippleNet, which is the private payment network. And then we have XRP2 LLC. That's basically their money service provider business or their trading desks. That's what they're doing with the loaning of the XRP and the selling of XRP in the past. Now, in Wyoming, they opened up, I think it's called Ripple Markets, which that's going to be very interesting. And it's possible that they're looking to become a bank. But we know that Polysign and one of their subsidiaries, Standard Custody and Trust, has applied for a trust charter in New York State. So that's been pending since September of 2019. So we're going on a year and a half that they have this pending. And if you also look on the App Store on iOS, you see Standard Custody's app. It actually exists, and it's being used by corporate. So Polysign is not Standard Custody is in stealth, but it's being used. So that's good to know. And I think they're waiting on regulatory clarity as well. So we're probably not going to see any type of announcement from Polysign or Standard Custody until this case is cleared up, which we all are hoping very soon. And also with Ripple X, building this DeFi platform is really fascinating because it's going to connect the Flare network and the XRP Ledger. And we're going to finally get utility out of XRP for us on the XRP Ledger DEX. So, for example, XLM was just brought over. Doge, Litecoin are on Flare as F assets when it goes live. Those F assets are going to be able to be moved onto the XRP Ledger and traded on the DEX against XRP, and in the future with a decentralized stablecoin. I'm still getting more details on that. The information hasn't been released, but it's very complicated. So it's based on dynamic interest rates. So before I do a video on that, I really want to understand it more. I just don't want to put it out there, and I know it will be even more confusing, and that's the last thing I want to do is confuse people. And I know Flare Network is a lot to unpack, and I'm grateful to see that people in the comment section are starting to understand Flare Network, and that's great to see. Now, with Flare Finance Beta, that's a whole nother level. So I understand that there's going to be a struggle for some people that try to do the beta, and that's understandable. It was very difficult for myself. So don't feel like you're the only one with that. And it will be much easier and a more frictionless process when the actual Flare wallets are out, and you won't hopefully have to use MetaMask. But for right now in beta, it is a little clunky, but that's okay. That's why it's beta. But for Flare Network, you really want to understand everything that Flare Network is building and what it's going to allow. So on Flare Finance, you won't have the high gas fees. You won't have the front running of miners. So the DeFi ecosystem that develops is going to be so much better than what it is on Ethereum. And look how big it's gone on Ethereum. It's blown up. Once we add tokenization and once we add issuing of security tokens, those are getting integrated into DeFi. So we're like in the very early stages of DeFi. Think of it being like being in Bitcoin in 2010 or 2011. It was just the really early days. You didn't know really where it's going to go. But now we have actual financial products that could earn you yield, and it's more than just speculation now. So you're going to start seeing more and more products develop, especially on networks like Flare that have the capabilities to build out superior products without the gas fees. Like, you could use a small amount of money and still participate in DeFi in Flare Finance, where on Ethereum, you have to be going well over 10,000 just to even participate, and without getting killed by the gas fees. So it's a whole different world. And having the fact that the Ethereum virtual machine is on the Flare network, it's going to make the smart contracts so much easier for developers to create. So that's one thing that Flare has an advantage, and we could see that with Binance Smart Chain right now. So even with CBDCs, for example, they're looking at Quorum and with Consensus to build possibly on that private blockchain. What's great now in the future is with Flare and with the XRP Ledger, Flare has the Ethereum virtual machine. So anything that is built on Quorum, say, at a central bank or CBDC, could also be used on the Flare network because they're using the same Ethereum virtual machine. And interoperability between the two networks that have the EVM is much easier. So now XRP or FXRP could be used if it has to interoperate with an Ethereum-based network for CBDCs like Quorum, for example. So now XRP has just gained this complementary network, which is a data provisioning network. Now remember, Flare is, yes, the first use case is DeFi, it seems like. But Hugo has told us the goal there is institutional use case. So we're going to be able to have networks that have institutional use cases, CBDCs, fully decentralized, and have DeFi. Like, it's really the best of both worlds. They don't need retail out for institutions to use. The solutions and innovations are there to protect the privacy and give the central banks some aspect of control to issue CBDCs. And also for retail then to use DeFi on the same blockchain. Like, that's absolutely amazing. And that's the future we're headed to, because the decentralized networks are going to always be more robust, and they're going to be more of a foundational infrastructure because nobody could control the system, and they run 24/7, 365. And if you look at the stock market, for example, they go down all the time. Look at the FedWire system. Just went down for a whole day. So that's going to show that these public blockchains, in the end, are going to be the most resilient of all the networks. We're just in the very early days. And before I wrap up this video, I do want to make an observation that it's great to see the community all getting excited about like the Flare Finance beta and the Flare network. We're really starting to see the engagement and people asking questions. And as everyone absorbs the information, absorbs the knowledge, understands the terminologies, and I know it's a lot to unpack and there's a lot of questions. So luckily, we have still a couple more months till that happens. And there is one question I do want to answer that I've seen go around a lot. The airdrop for Flare Finance is, the ratio is undecided because of, it depends on how many Spark are claimed by June 11th from the original XRP snapshot. So Flare Finance can't nail down their ratio until it's determined how many Spark are claimed. And I believe it's like 15 billion are still unclaimed. So it keeps going down, that ratio. So you're going to be able to purchase more Spark before the Flare Finance snapshot. So for that month, from when Flare Network goes live to the Flare Finance snapshot, you'll be able to buy more Spark and earn Spark. So that's one thing to consider, and this is why early participation is very important for the Flare network. And to understand how you could earn, and it's no risk to bring your XRP, your XLM, and your Doge onto the Flare network. So reach out to the other communities that are on now. So XLM is now part of Flare. I mean, that's great to see with Stellar. We didn't need to ask Jed's permission or the Stellar Foundation for XLM to come over. It's just, that's how Flare is. And it brings together communities without having to ask permission of those blockchains. But now Stellar, actually, XLM, has the ability now to utilize smart contracts. And that is really huge going into the future. So no longer are the XRP Ledger, Stellar Network, Doge, Litecoin, and Bitcoin going to be limited and not have those smart contract capabilities. Now they'll have full smart contract capabilities, as well as using the Ethereum virtual machine. Now CBDC is the same way. In the future, who knows where this goes? It's possible they could be issued on Flare and on the XRP Ledger. Flare is built for institutional use. Now Flare is bootstrapping the decentralization by being able to connect these to these F assets native networks. They're bootstrapping the decentralization by bringing those miners, those validators on Stellar, those miners on Doge network, on Litecoin network, also has validators on Flare. Now, that's a really rare occurrence. I've not seen a network that's able to come out of the gate at launch and be basically fully decentralized with their token, native token, fully distributed without an ICO. And the ability for everybody to earn rewards, not miners, not federated validators that are only earning. Everyone's going to be able to earn. And there's going to be no other airdrops. I want to repeat that. There will be no airdrop for Doge. There will be no airdrop for Litecoin. There will be no airdrop for XLM. But if you mint your F assets onto the Flare network at no risk, you'll get daily airdrops of Spark every day. And you could hold it in your possession, in your wallet, and you'll receive those airdrops. So that's something that's going to really incentivize users to mint F assets. And the more F assets that are minted, the more Spark that needs to be locked as collateral. This is what's going to drive the value of Spark up. And we're going to do a follow-up video on Spark's valuation because I found out some new things and they're pretty exciting. Very exciting, actually. So look for that in the next week or two. And we're also going to finish up Polysign Part 2. I'm almost done working on that video. And I'm hopefully to have that released this week. I know it's been like a week or so. So I'd like to put that one out. Got some new information. So I'm Mickey B. Fresh, and I'm out.